Oh, hello, amazing entrepreneur. It's my birthday. So today is the 12th of March. This is day 12 of Tashmas, and it is my birthday today. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of the Heart-Centered Business Podcast. This is episode number 392, which means all the relevant links and show notes will be at tashcorbin.com/392. And this is such a special podcast episode because it's the last day of Tashmas, and also I'm really, really excited to share the content of this episode with you because I think you'll find it really helpful. So if you are someone who's been concerned that maybe you're giving away too much information for free and it's stopping people from buying from you, or you don't want to give away too much value or share too much of your processes because people might not buy from you. They'll just use that to go off and do it themselves. Or maybe you've been thinking that you've spilled too many industry secrets and that's why people aren't turning into paying clients. Or you've heard from other marketers that is what you need to do, then this is going to be a really helpful episode because I'm going to actually break it right down, and it's very detailed and practical. So I'm going to answer the question, are you actually giving away too much content for free or too much value for free? And then, as always, because this is a day of Tashmas, there's a gift for you at the end. So let's dive into this one. Don't forget, show notes are at tashcorbin.com/392. Let's do it. I'm Tash Corbin, and this is the Heart-Centered Business Podcast. Now, it's funny because we started Tashmas this time around with a saying on day one, and we're going to end Tashmas by kicking off the last episode with another saying. The saying that we're going to dissect today is, why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? Now, this is often used as a saying or a folksy way of convincing you that you shouldn't be giving away too much value or too much information in your free content and in your marketing strategy, because then people won't buy from you. You've told them the answer already. You've told them what to do. You've told them how to do it. So why on earth would they then buy your program or buy some mentorship with you or hire you in any way? Because you gave them all the milk and you keep giving them all the milk. Now, this saying is also very much rooted in misogyny and sexism, in that it was initially coined as a way of explaining that a man won't marry you if you have sex with him because your only value to a man as a cow is the milk that you have to offer. So yeah, it gives me the ick kind of both ways, whether it's used to talk about marketing and free information or whether it's used to talk about how having sex somehow devalues us as human beings. Icky either way. So how about we, instead of using folksy sayings to convince people that somehow they will facilitate a far less valuable transformation if people are actually informed buyers, we actually break this down and address the concern that maybe you are divulging too much, you're giving away secrets, you're telling people too much of your process, and that is the reason why they're not buying from you. Because that is actually a valid concern. And I've been on enough of your webinars, beautiful audience, that I know you do tend to be over-givers if you are following me. It might have something to do with the fact that that's part of my niching, is that I do want to help the people of the world who tend to be the overgivers, who tend to be quite generous. And sometimes they're generous to the point of like they're prioritizing other people's needs over their own. Not sure if you identify that way, but if you do, welcome, welcome. But it is a valid concern that maybe you're just giving people too much information, and that's part of the reason that maybe they're not buying from you. And it is a valid concern, especially when it's reinforced by a lot of online marketers. Now, sometimes they do use another angle to express this. They'll say that if you give people information about your process, or you give people free value, i.e. you tell them what steps they need to take or that you're going to take with them, or you give people free content that's really valuable and helps them move forward, people will only hang around for more of that free value, or you'll just attract freebie chasers. So there are lots of ways that this is raised as a reason why you shouldn't be giving away too much information for free. But I just want to say that a lot of it comes through very judgy lenses. So like people will say, oh, freebie chasers, like there's something wrong with people who like to scour the internet for free information and insights to solve their problems. I adore people who scour the internet for free information. I adore people who are completely motivated to find an answer and are resourceful, and instead of sitting back and thinking, oh, woe is me, I can't solve my problem, they're out there chasing down the answers. I love those people. Not only do I love them, I love working with them. I love when they follow and engage with my content on socials. They're some of the most thankful people I've ever encountered. And I haven't actually seen that people who are looking for free information on the internet, looking for free strategies and resources, I have not observed that those people are doing that with no intention to ever pay anyone and ever pay for any of the resources or information that they're getting access to. In some cases, they're scouring the internet for free resources because right now they don't have the budget to invest in other strategies or other forms of support. Will I judge them for that? Will I dismiss them as not being a valuable audience member? No, I will not. Because I was a freebie chaser. When I started my business, I didn't have any money. I had actually, not only did I not have money, I'd maxed out my credit card by going on holidays to Europe right before I started my business. I was so naive about my capabilities and just really believed in myself. Thank goodness I did. I probably wouldn't if I knew what I know now, but that's fine. I'm glad that, sometimes they say a little bit of ignorance is a very powerful thing, because if you really knew what was ahead, you probably wouldn't go ahead with it. So I did a lot of that in my first few years of business in particular. And I am so grateful to the people who did give information and share strategies and share what they had discovered on the internet. I am so grateful to the people who consistently did Q&As and answered questions and ran webinars and published YouTube videos and did step-by-step blogs on how to wrestle with the MailChimp monkey and get emails out to your mailing list and all of those things. Because if it wasn't for those people, I wouldn't have been able to solve some of the very straightforward sometimes and some of the very simple problems that were holding me back from starting my business. And I can also tell you that several of those people whose freebies I did get in the early days of my business, I did eventually buy something from them or work with them or hire them. Now, not every single person, but I did work with some of them. And sometimes the reason why I didn't end up buying something from someone was because I didn't need to buy anything from them. That little free insight, that little free step-by-step guide was all I needed right now. And that's all I needed to get unstuck. And so why would that person want to sell me something that I didn't need simply because they didn't want to tell me one tiny little step-by-step process? I don't understand that logic. So is it something for you to worry about? Can you even give away too much information for free? Well, in a nutshell, the answer is actually no. But it is super important to ensure that what you do give away does its job. So there's a big difference between throwing a bunch of random information at the internet and hoping it somehow creates momentum and sales versus creating free content and giving people value and sharing secrets, in inverted commas, because there are no secrets, remember. Sharing the process that you use to walk people through how your work together will unfold and what you're going to achieve together. All of that, if you're sharing that information and if you're sharing all of that value, we want to ensure that when you do, it's doing its job. That's the difference. And so that's what I want us to talk through in this episode. So what is the job of your free content and the value and information that you give away for free? Is it to make people feel like they owe you one? According to some people, especially those who started their business like way back in 2010 and haven't updated their understanding of content marketing strategy, yes, that's why you give away free information. You're creating, I think it's the law of reciprocity. So you're creating an imbalance in the relationship and purposefully bombarding them with gifts and freebies and value so that they feel an obligation to reciprocate in some way, and therefore it will drive up their desire to spend money with you. But no, that's not actually the job of your free content. And it comes across a little creepy to me. Like, here, I'm just going to lavish you in free gifts in the hopes of creating enough guilt and enough sense of reciprocity in you that you will just decide you need to give me money. Even if I don't have anything that will help you or a product that will be of value, you're just going to feel really uncomfortable with the fact that I gave you lots and lots of free stuff. It's a little bit love bomby. It's giving overly generous vibes in the expectation of something in return. It's giving being really, really generous with someone on their birthday, even though they told you not to get them a present because you secretly and deep down would really like them to buy you something lavish for your birthday. Not that I have experience in that, but I'm just saying. Anyway, that's not the job of your free content and the value that you're sharing online. Does it give you a chance to teach that very amazing thing you've been wanting to share? Well, yes, creating free content and value, it could be a great opportunity for you to show up and share those insights and teach what it is that you've really been wanting to teach people, but only if it does its job. And being a nice thing that you really like to teach or something that you're keen to share with people is not its job. It's not enough. So if its job isn't to create an imbalance in your relationship, if its job is not just teaching people all the things that you've been wanting to share with the world, what is the job of the free content that you share? Its job is to move people towards or facilitate a light bulb moment. So what do I mean by a light bulb moment, and why is this the job of your free content? First and foremost, the light bulb moment is the thing that people need to realize before they're ready to understand how they could work with you. So, for example, you might find that, I'll talk about my business actually. So I find a lot of people will come into following me or wanting to learn from me, and their key question is, how do I get more followers on social media? That's why they want to follow me, because they want to make more sales. That is their ultimate goal. But they believe that if they learn how to get more followers on social media, that will help them get more sales. So they have diagnosed that the problem they have is a lack of audience, and the solution that they need is to grow that audience. But I know that the reason they want to grow their audience and solve that problem is to make more sales. And I also know that growing your audience does not directly predict an increase in sales. In fact, out of the stages of the client attraction process, reach, i.e. audience growth, is the least likely to have a direct relationship to sales. So if you reach 10,000 people online and you make 3 sales, if you reach 20,000 people online, there is not a direct relationship that says you'll make 6 sales. And even if you did have a reliably predictable conversion rate like that, doubling your reach online is a very expensive and time-intensive endeavor. And for most people, it takes all of the profitability or the time sustainability out of their business. Because if they're working 10 hours a week on social media to reach those 10,000 people, and now they have to reach 20,000 people, well, working 20 hours a week on your social media, for most people, is not actually available to them. That time is not available to them. And also, the money that they would have to spend to double that reach is far too high. It wouldn't then make sense for them to do that because they would only make 3 extra sales. It's going to cost them more than they'll make in the sales. Or they can put that extra time in. Even if you can double the time that you put into your reach and your social media, double the time in doesn't equal double the reach out. And so I know that even though my audience is fixated on growing their audience, I know that that's not the whole solution. I know that growing their audience doesn't necessarily help them achieve the bigger goal, the reason why they want to grow their audience. So my free content, the value content that I share, has the job of bridging people to understanding that it's not just about growing your audience. In fact, for most people, they don't have an issue of audience size. They just don't know how to effectively convert that audience into paying customers. So I'm not correcting them. I'm not running around the internet saying, you don't need more reach. You don't need more reach. Stop it, right? Especially not for a cold audience. You're my warmer audience here on the podcast. So I feel more confident that you are receptive to hearing why reach is probably not the most effective use of your time, or why you might like to put a little more effort into other parts of your client attraction process. But if I created all of my free content out on the internet, focused on my coldest audience, just saying, stop it, just stop, you're doing the wrong thing, then they're not necessarily going to be excited by that content, are they? So what I need to do is not correct them, but bridge it. So instead of yelling at them that audience size is not a direct predictor of the number of sales they're going to make, I create free content that solves the problem that they want to solve and that they are currently focused on solving, because that's what they're Googling. That's what they're stopping their scrolling on social media to listen to or to look at, because that's what they think is the answer to their problem. And so I create free content that says, yes, growing your audience is amazing. Here's some things you can do to grow your audience. And if you want that audience growth to result in making sales, then let's be sure to also sort out your messaging and your value proposition so that you can convert that audience into paying clients. So see how the free content is doing the job of meeting my audience where they're at. And that means that my free content doesn't need to be giving away the step-by-step process to sorting out your foundations, because let's be honest, that's not something I could even teach in a 3-hour podcast, let alone a 25-minute podcast. My free content is not me coaching people for free or giving away anything that would stop people from buying from me. My free content is actually helping people to move forward with the very thing that they want to move forward with, and helping them to understand that if they want that step to also get them the bigger goal they're aiming for, that we need to combine it with something else. So it's bridging it. And the reason why this is so important for us to do is because at any point in time, if you reach 100 people, because I'm going to do some math here, right? If you reach 100 people who are in your niche, 3% of those people will never, ever, ever buy from you. 3%. Now, the reasons why they won't might be they don't like your wonky eyebrows. That's what I give as my reason. I've got like, my eyebrows are not sisters. They're certainly not twins. I once heard the saying that your eyebrows should be sisters, not twins. I think my eyebrows are like third cousins or something. But anyway, so they might not buy from you because they don't like your Aussie accent, Tash. They might not buy from you because they just don't think that you're a very nice person. That's fine, right? There's going to be 3% of people that no matter how lovely you are, no matter how amazing your content is, they will always just see you as, nah, you're not for me. Nah, I'm not interested. We don't want to talk to those 3% of people. We're not going to give them our time and attention. They'll discover your content. They'll see your posts. Hopefully they'll just scroll on by. Some of them might take it into their into their agenda for the day, that they need to somehow bring you down or rain on your parade or tell you that Taylor Swift is overrated. Bless them. They always have weird names, but anyway. And they always have lockdown profiles with no followers. What's that about? Fake profiles. Anyway, those 3% of people are not part of our equation. There's another 3% of people who are actually in a position where they're ready, willing, and able to buy from you, and they already know that they need the bigger picture. They're just waiting to find the right fit. They're just waiting to hear the right offer or hear you speak about your services or what it is that you're selling in a way that makes it feel like, yeah, that's going to be the thing that helps me, and then they're ready to buy. Maybe they just need to have a quick conversation with you first. Maybe they need to read your sales page first. Maybe they just need to see your offer a few times instead of just the first time, but they are pretty ready, right? About 3% of the people that you reach will already be at that light bulb stage. Now, some of them might be working with someone else. They're at the light bulb stage, but they've just invested in working with someone else, or they're doing someone else's course right now, or they are still convinced that that person is the right fit for them right now. That's totally fine as well. But if your free content is helping to demonstrate how well thought out and rigorous your process is to help people accomplish their goal, or if your free content includes you speaking confidently about your process, your solution, your offer, that may actually be enough to sway them. But it doesn't matter if you don't convert that top 3% all the time straight away, right? Like, I'm just saying, around 3% of that audience, so 3 out of those 100 people, are actually probably ready to buy or very close to being ready to buy already. But the other 94%, right? So we've got 3% at the bottom, they're going to hate you forever, or they're not interested, they're never going to buy from you. That's fine. The 3% at the top, they're already ready. They're fine. That 94% in between, they still aren't quite ready to buy yet. They are not in the position of buying. They are currently in the position of trying to solve a specific problem, right? They're not in a position to just jump straight into your big deluxe 6-month package because they don't realize that they have a problem or that the solution they're looking for will involve your deluxe 6-month package. So the equivalent for my business is there are a lot of people who join my audience who they don't even realize that their business foundations are quite wobbly or non-existent. They don't even realize that there's more to marketing than just throw content at the internet and include a few offers, right? They still believe that if they get more followers or they grow their reach or they build their audience, that will solve their lack of sales problem. And so my job is not to run around the internet just telling people they're wrong. My job is not to kowtow to their beliefs and create a 12 session package that just helps people grow their audience, because I also wouldn't be doing them any favors or wouldn't be acting in their best interests if I just taught how to get more followers online and charged for that part. Instead, what I want to do is create free content that does that beautiful job of, for that 94% of people, my free content is going to move them towards being part of the 3%. Move them towards being ready, willing, and able to invest in the next step, in paying to work with me. So in this way, my free content does not have to hold back. If I have 1,000 different ways that people can grow their audience, I can share those 1,000 different ways. Now, personally, I wouldn't do that because in my experience, giving you 1,000 different ways to grow your audience is giving you 1,000 different ways to give yourself homework before you come and work with me. So the other thing that my free content needs to do is to help people have that light bulb moment as quickly as possible. Now, this is where the too much information and the overload on the webinar stuff comes back into play. Because for a lot of people, when they come to creating free content, delivering webinars, podcast episodes, all of those sorts of things, because they can see that people are fixated on a certain outcome or fixated on a certain thing that's going to fix everything for them, they want to give people everything they could possibly give them. They want to be really generous with the information that they share. Even if they understand the role of the content in doing that bridging, something that they can tend to do, not you, not me, we don't do this, no, we never do this, but something that they can tend to do is give people a lot of homework. So I have a VIP package that I have been selling recently, and I've had quite a few people purchase it from me, where it's a webinar optimization package. And so we look at one of their webinars and we go through it and optimize it so that it's going to actually do its job of converting people into paying clients who are like at that stage of readiness. And also, really developing trust and relationships and all the pieces that a webinar needs to do. And one of the most common mistakes that I see people make is they give their audience a bunch of homework. So they will, in their webinar, give them checklists of all the ways that they could grow their audience. So if we use that same analogy of my business, if I ran a webinar in which I said, okay, in order to grow your audience, you need to go and do these things. And I give them a giant checklist. And then I say, and also another way to grow your audience is to go and be on 16 different platforms, because yes, that would help people to grow their audience. It's not the most effective way. It's not the most efficient way. And if I give them all of the different ways they can do it, then they're going to stay in, I need to do these things first mode. And they're never actually going to have that light bulb of, oh, okay, I am growing my audience, but wouldn't it be great if I could make sales? That would be great. And understanding and really deeply getting that light bulb moment of, oh, I actually don't need to grow my audience. That's not the most effective use of my time right now. So one of the things that I would say in relation to giving away too much information is that it's not too much information that is most people's problem. It's too much homework. So when you create free content, are you sending people off with 6 months of homework that they could do before they ever come and circle back? Are you giving people too many options of ways that they could solve that surface level problem, rather than just giving them a nice, efficient way to sort it out so that they can see, yep, you've taken care of that. Yep, you're confident that you've got a strategy in place that's going to be effective for you. And now let's turn it into sales. So can you see the difference between freely giving information and seeing the volume of information as the reflection of the value versus the efficiency of that information in giving the value. So if I was to run a webinar on how to grow your audience, I would not be giving people 65 different options. What I would be doing is helping people to shortcut their way to audience growth by focusing on 1 to 2 strategies that are super effective, super efficient, and in the process of teaching people how to do that and how to really simplify it down so that they're saving lots of time, I would also be helping them to see how audience growth is just one factor in their bigger goal of making sales. So I would have the audience connect in with why do they want to grow their audience so much? Why are they focused on growing their mailing list or getting more followers on social media? Well, they are focused on that because they want that to result into sales. Okay, great. Well, let's now look at the evidence as to how effectively focusing on audience growth will actually contribute to that goal. Is the most efficient and effective use of your time to just focus on audience growth? No, we can see that audience growth is the most time-intensive and costly part of your client attraction process. So if we are going to grow your audience with the intention of making sales, why don't we do it in a way that takes less time and has all of the pieces taken care of? And that would then be my opportunity to invite people, if they wanted to do the bigger piece of actually making sales. So that would be getting your foundations nailed, ensuring you have a full client attraction process, not just post on the internet and reach as many people as possible and then chuck a few offers at them, right? So my webinar would be able to help people to see, well, what is the strategy that they need? What will result in them making more sales? And then I get to invite them to come and join my program if they want to do that with me. Now, here is where we need to decide if we have an abundance mindset or if we have a fear and lack mindset. Because one of the biggest resistance pieces that I get to doing it in this way and embracing this, like there's no such thing as too much information model of marketing is that, well, what if people just hear what I tell them in the webinar and then that actually fixes it and they do make more sales? What if I give people strategies to grow their audience and they have the audacity of actually putting those in place and then it works and then they make more sales and then they don't need the rest? Well, what do I do then? I've just lost a sale. Well, this is where having an abundance mindset makes a world of difference. Because if all someone needed was to actually fix the surface level issue, then I don't want to sell them my program that does all the other stuff because they don't need all the other stuff. So I don't see that as a loss that that person came to my webinar, got the information they needed, implemented it, and they're on their way. I see that as a win. I haven't lured someone into my program and sold them something that they don't need. Instead, that was all that they needed. They've done it, and they are probably a very loyal, very grateful member of my audience. But even if they aren't, like, I have no interest in selling them something they don't need. That's the point. So if that's something that comes up for you, don't forget that if all someone needs from you is one tiny little strategy or one tiny little secret, just because you gave them that for free doesn't mean you've somehow sabotaged your business, lost the potential productivity or profit in your business, right? Like that's actually coming from a lack mindset, right? It's that if I don't get money out of that person, then I've lost. There's something wrong with me. I've done it wrong. But you're not here to get money out of every single person that you help, regardless of whether they need to work with you or not. You're not here to extract every last cent and every last dollar you possibly can out of people who don't need to invest in working with you and don't need the thing that you sell, right? You don't sell how to grow your audience. I sell how to build business foundations and a client attraction process that's high conversion, makes sales, and generates consistent income. That's what I sell. I don't sell information. I sell transformative experiences. I sell business mentorship that helps people to create profitable, sustainable businesses. And if all people need is a little information on how to get more followers on Facebook, and that actually does solve their problem and they make sales because they've already got the foundations, clearly, or they've already got amazing messaging, or they've already got a full client attraction process. It was just that they did need to grow their audience. They had a little bit of a reach issue. Then I don't need their money because I don't actually have anything to sell them that they need. I am happy to give them that information for free. Now, that lack mindset and that fear of leaving money on the table, worst expression ever, but anyway, oh no, it's not the worst expression ever. I mean, we're talking about buy the cow and get the milk for free. So it's not the worst expression ever, but I don't like it. And it's so overused in the online marketing world. But it's not about taking every dollar off the table. If in order to get that money off the table, I have to sell someone something that I don't need, I don't want it. If in order to claim all of the money that's on this imaginary table, I have to agitate people, make them feel like I'm better than them, I don't want it. I don't want that money. That money feels like it's like sought through and gained from unseemly and unjust ways. And I don't like that. I don't want to do that. That's not who I want to be. That's not the impact I want to have on the world. I want to work with people who see that getting their business foundations nailed and building a strategic, streamlined, and effective client attraction process is a powerful and consent-based way to be of service and have a positive impact in the world, not just with their paid services, but also with the way that they market and sell online. They are the people that I want to work with. And so I have no qualms with people coming and listening to my podcast every single week and never buying from me if that's not what they want and if they don't see the value in doing that. Because if I convince those people who don't get it to join the takeoff program, then they're going to be really difficult and challenging clients to work with. They are going to be angry that I sold them something that they don't need. Why would I do that to myself or to them? And I think sometimes this overly fixated belief that somehow you need to extract every possible dollar from every possible person that you ever come across online is actually holding us back from standing in a place of deep belief in ourselves and that real sense of confidence and trust that what you are selling is so amazing and valuable and it changes lives and it helps people because it does. And resorting to trickery and manipulation and holding back the secrets and pretending that the answer is super easy and you're silly if you don't get it, honestly, it just feels like it comes from a space of lack and that you don't believe in yourself. You don't believe in the power of the work that you do and the transformation that you help people to achieve. And I also do recognize that there is a big mindset component to this. Starting a business is one of the most confronting things that you can do. It's a huge personal development journey. And learning how to speak up confidently on social media, speak about what it is that you do, connect with your audience, that's all hard enough and confronting enough without layering in another factor that you are deceiving them to get their money. that you are manipulating them so that you can make them feel really uncomfortable with the fact they haven't figured this out yet, and therefore swoop in and be their savior with your spectacular offer. I think that style of marketing, or having that lack mentality of not wanting to leave $1 on the table and not wanting to help people unless they pay you for it, is actually, for a lot of startup business owners and a lot of people who are really struggling to get to that consistent income, it's part of the problem. Because even if your marketing and sales strategy is consent-based and deeply aligned with your values and your integrity, it's still a huge personal growth period that you're going to go through. We have enough to undergo when we increase our visibility without also worrying we're maybe giving away too much for free. We have enough mindset blocks to clear as we increase our prices and present our offers in webinars and tell people that we really want to help them without also needing to protect our secrets or niggle at people's pain points and agitate their nervous systems just so that we can sell to them. So I thought, rather than just tell you there's no such thing as giving away too much for free, rather than just saying that when you help people and answer their questions and meet their needs and demonstrate and show your processes, you're not actually making them less likely to buy from you, I am going to demonstrate it. I'm going to show it to you practically and tangibly in real life as my day 12/birthday gift to you here on day 12 of Tashmas. So on the 14th of March, which is in 2 days' time, I am actually going to be offering free coaching and mentoring. And you're invited. If you would like to come to my free session, and you can come along and ask questions. We're going to have some hot seats where we do some coaching, and you can ask me for help with whatever it is that you need. I am just going to show up and I am going to give freely. I'm going to serve. I'm going to help. I'm going to answer. I'm going to coach. I'm going to mentor. I'll do all of the things. I will bring the best of Tash to the table, and it's going to go for 2 whole hours. So for 2 hours, I'm going to show up and I am going to mentor and coach and train and talk about processes and help you build your business and everything. And you will see that just like you, I also cannot, in a whole 2-hour session, possibly even touch the surface of the value of working with me in one of my programs or as a one-on-one client. There is no way in a 2-hour mentorship session that everything I ever have to offer in this space is out there, and then therefore no one wants to work with me. No one's going to pay me any money. I am so aligned and so believing that there isn't any such thing as giving away too much information for free that I'm going to go and try. I'll try and give away too much information for free for 2 whole hours. So come along, ask your questions. Let's get you in the hot seat. Let's do some coaching. And by participating in this event, you will also be aligning and experiencing and being in the presence of that deep sense of abundance mindset. Because I will tell you now, I will not be showing up to that workshop, to that session, feeling like I'm worried you're not going to buy from me. I won't be turning up holding back or hiding secrets or refusing to talk about my processes or the strategies or the steps for you to be able to move forward in your business and make more sales. I am 100% showing up from a space of abundance and from a space of generosity. And even just by being in the presence of that experience, hopefully you will feel that sense of security and that safety and that feeling of deep, deep abundance as well. Because I know that in recording 12 entire podcast episodes with really tangible and practical advice and really practical strategies on how you can build your business and make sales, I know that for the people who need mentorship and want to work with me, that hasn't made it less likely. That hasn't delayed our working together. That hasn't put you off because I gave you too much for free. I know that this experience, this series of podcast episodes, this Tashmas, has for some people made you more excited to work with me. Whether that be sooner or later, doesn't matter. That makes you more likely to get to the point where you're ready to invest in working together somehow, if that's what you need and that's the right fit for you. I'm not here to extract as much money as I can out of my audience in the next 12 months and then disappear. I'm not here to see how many people I can swindle hundreds of thousands of dollars out of before going off and living as a hermit. I am an extrovert who deeply values community, and I'm here to stay. I've been doing this for over 10 years now, and for over 10 years I've shown up with a deep sense of generosity, with a deep sense of belief, and with a deep sense of the value that people experience when they work with me and when they consume my free content. When they follow me on Facebook, when they subscribe to my mailing list, when they come to a webinar. And I genuinely mean that when I say that's the kind of business that I want to run. That's the kind of world that I want to live in. That's the kind of person that I want to be. And that's the kind of impact that I want to have. So one of the intentions that I set whenever I run a free webinar or a workshop or I put together a podcast series like this is that I want it to be deeply valuable for every single person who participates. I want every single person who spends an hour with me on a webinar, let's face it, it's never just an hour, but spends time with me on a webinar, I want them to think, gosh, that was such a good use of my time. That's my intention, regardless of whether they buy from me or not. I come at it from that angle first. And when I create content from that angle, I am valuing our relationship. I am valuing the human at the other end. Instead of tricking them into giving me their time and making a commitment to come to something and then making them sit through a bunch of content that just makes them feel more agitated, makes them feel more anxious, makes them feel like there's something wrong with them, or they are silly because they haven't worked this out yet and it's a really simple solution, which I believe is absolutely predatory. I want to reward those people with really valuable content. I want to help people. I want every single person who engages with my business, whether they pay me or not, to feel that I left them better than I found them. And in order to do that, I need to create content through the lens of generosity and the lens of abundance. And if that feels like the kind of business that you want to run and the kind of world that you want to live in, then you are absolutely in the right place. And I look forward to our continued relationship as we move forward into the rest of 2024 beyond Tashmas. So please stick around. Let's see what kind of trouble we can get ourselves into. And I want you to know, and I truly mean this, and I'll probably get teary when I say it, I want you to know that if you feel like you are worried that you can't pay me money, if you feel like for some reason this is an unbalanced relationship and you get more from me than you give to me, if you feel guilty at coming to everything for free and listening to everything for free and not buying anything from me right now, I want you to know that you are welcome here, that I value our relationship, not because you might give me money one day, but because I know that this movement we are creating, that this impact that we have on the world is going to be magnificent. I'm not in this business to make money quick and get rich and flash my wealth around online and amass a group of adoring fans. I didn't create this business so that I could extract as much money out of people as I could so that I could run off and sip cocktails on the beach. I created this business and I'm still here and I still show up every day and I still show up with excitement and with energy for it because it's not about what I get out of this relationship. It's not about extracting money from humans. This business, doing this work, is helping more and more people who get ignored by big name flashy marketers, who get ashamed because they can't afford to spend $25,000 on going to the Maldives to learn about marketing, who are ignored, who are marginalized, get further marginalized. Those people like me, people like you, we are the ones that when we create hugely successful businesses, when we build wealth and when we access economic power, we use that for good. We don't hoard that. We don't use that to further marginalize other people. We don't use that to make everyone else feel bad that they're not as successful as us. When we have money, we use it for good. When we have success, we use it for good. When we have a platform, we use it for good. That is why my business exists. And if I was to have a short-sighted view of that business that only focused on how much money I could get out of you, then it would not be an exciting prospect to me. It would not have me coming to my computer excited to speak to you, to see what you've got to offer, to see what you're sharing with us. I'm not here simply to extract money out of people. I am here to put more economic wealth and more economic power in the hands of marginalized people through this spectacular opportunity of entrepreneurship. And I will absolutely, willingly and lovingly continue to show up for you and welcome you into this space and share content with you and send you emails and rant on a little bit about my dog and Taylor Swift, and you'll put up with that. But I will continue to do that no matter how long it goes before you ever spend a cent with me. No matter if in 20 years' time and I'm still doing this and you're still hanging around and you still haven't bought anything from me, that in no way makes any difference to how much I value you as a human being and how much I value your contribution to this movement, to this change that we are creating in the world. And so I wanted to be very earnest and upfront about that because I think far too many people feel like they're not allowed to be in spaces after a while because they've just taken up too much space. They've taken up too much energy. They've taken up too much information for free. And I want to reassure you that that is not why I value our relationship, and you are welcome here. I want you to feel like you can continue to soak all of this up. This podcast has a complete search database that allows you to look up any of the previous podcast episodes. It's a Netflix version of business growth and consent-based marketing strategies on demand for free on my website because I know how valuable that impact is on the world. And I know what it feels like to not be able to afford to pay someone. And I know what it feels like when that is not an issue for that person. And I know what it feels like when that person is deeply attached to me paying them some money. And I don't ever want to make anyone feel like they're not allowed to be in this community simply because they haven't paid me money. I don't ever want anyone to feel like they cannot grow their business. They cannot learn marketing strategies. They're not allowed to play with consent-based marketing. They're not allowed to have a business. They're not allowed to try and make sales simply because they haven't paid me for that privilege. In closing, I will continue making this podcast and I will continue freely sharing information with you that will help you to move forward, that will help you to make sales, that will help you to make money. I will continue to be very generous. In putting together this podcast series for Tashmas, I have my content ideas book, and I was flicking through my content ideas book to see if I had made any notes about this conversation about giving away too much for free. And I realized I have over 55 podcast ideas and concepts all mapped out, ready to go, ready to record. And even just reading the titles and reading through all the things that I want to share with you, I got really excited. I was like, I could do a podcast a day. I'm not going to do a podcast today. My team would absolutely lose it. But I may start releasing some extra podcast episodes in between the regular ones. If you find this stuff valuable, right? I'm happy to do that because I don't think I'll ever run out of things I want to share with you. I don't think I'll ever run out of angles and ways that we can address this and we can sort this out and we can help you get moving and help you make sales and help you get clients. The amount of people who have done one of my free workshops or done one of my free challenges or come along to one of my events, my free events, or who have listened to podcast episodes or downloaded one of my free guides, the amount of people who email or who message me and say, oh my gosh, like I did that thing, I put it in place, I just made a sale. It warms my heart. It doesn't make me think, oh, where's my cut? I just don't, that's not me. Sorry, I'm getting a little ranty. So I will close and I will conclude by saying I'm going to be here for a long time. And I hope that you are too. And I hope that we get to continue this journey together and I have zero attachment to whether you pay me for that or not. Zero. I am very comfortable with the level of sales that I make. I am very comfortable with the number of people who do choose to work with me. I'm very comfortable with the growth of my business. I don't have any qualms whatsoever about you hanging around here. And I think the reason that I have become so earnest and so ranty about this is because I just see there's so much content out there and there are so many people out there right now who are engaging in sales techniques and strategies that really are not ethical and that make people feel like there's something wrong with them or they just don't have what it takes, or make you question whether you belong, make you question whether there's space for you, make you question whether you're ever really gonna make it. And I hope that the Heart Centre Business Podcast and the Heart Centre community, and I hope that my content and what I share with you is that oasis for you, is that space where you can feel welcome, you can feel seen and heard, and you can feel valued and recognized as a whole human being, not as a number in the audience list, not as a potential lead, not as a time waster or a tire kicker or a freebie chaser or any other disgusting term that I see used by these people to make the very people they're speaking to feel uncomfortable and feel like there's something wrong with them and they better pay for something quick because otherwise they'll be labeled one of those things as well. And so I hope that you are around for a long time. I hope that you continue to tell me what you need and tell me what you want. I hope to see you at the call on Wednesday. All the details are with the show notes over at tashcorbin.com/392. I hope you can understand what I'm saying, because I am saying this through tears. And I really do have this vision that we will be sipping non-alcoholic cocktails together one day, laughing about all of the inadequacies we ever felt, laughing about all of the weird hang-ups we ever had, and joking together and saying, remember that time when you thought you weren't going to make it? Oh my gosh, weren't we so silly back then, right? Remember that time when you were absolutely convinced that everyone hated you? And, I really do have that vision for us, because I think there's enough content out there in the world that makes you feel like you haven't got it together yet. I think there's enough content out in the world that is trying to tell you that if you don't fix it today, you'll never fix it. I think there's enough content out in the world that is disguised as being empowering, but at its core, it's actually disempowering. I don't want to contribute to that. And I love that I don't have to. And I want to reassure you that you don't have to contribute to that either. So hang around. Let's have some fun together. I hope to see you at the live call. Come and check out the show notes at tashcorbin.com/392. Over there, you'll also find a link to a post over on my Facebook page where we can continue this conversation. It's an Ask Me Anything post as well. So if you can't come to the call, or you can, but you just want to make sure that I answer your question, come over to the thread and ask your question over there. And my beautiful team will be collecting those questions up, and I will make sure that I go through them and answer them. But it's also your opportunity to share any insights that you've had as a result of this conversation. It's an opportunity for you to ask questions that don't relate to business. It's an Ask Me Anything. So if you're curious about part of my backstory, go ahead and ask. If you're curious about why I talk about certain things that I talk about, you're welcome to ask me. If you're curious about the working relationship that I have with my partner, David, Mr. Honest Dave, behind the scenes, you're welcome to ask. If you're curious about, why I'm getting so ranty about all of this stuff right now, you're welcome to ask as well. So whatever piques your curiosity, whatever you'd like to ask, that's an Ask Me Anything thread. So you have full permission. It doesn't mean I guarantee I'll answer everything. If you're asking me deeply personal questions, maybe I won't feel comfortable answering some of those. I haven't yet really been asked a question I haven't been comfy answering, but you never know, you might come up with one. But please, I do encourage you to ask me questions and let me know if there's anything I can help you with further. And thank you so much for being part of Tashmas. Happy birthday to me. Crying on the internet on my birthday. What's new, Tash? And I really do look forward to seeing where this goes and seeing how far you go. So thank you so much. Until next time, I cannot wait to see you shine. That makes me even more teary than normal when I say that today. And I look forward to seeing you and being back in your ears next Monday for a regular programming episode of the Heart Centered Business Podcast. Thank you so much. Big love from me. Bye for now. Would you like more tips, tools, and resources to help you grow your heart-centered business? Head to tashcorbin.com today.